The Supreme Court's decision dating back from 1973 gave women in the U.S. a legal right to decide for themselves if they wanted to continue or end a pregnancy. Traditionally, a Supreme Court's decision becomes the law of the land and is regarded as the reference when it comes to interpreting the Constitution. It is thus regarded as creating as well as upholding a precedent, which means that it cannot be challenged unless something new arises that leads to reconsidering previous views, norms, or beliefs that have become obsolete. So what is the meaning of the reversal of the Roe v. Wade decision? What is it that has led the justices to reconsider what has been the law for nearly 50 years? What are the views the judges might have that have made them feel they should go back to a time when access to abortion was not legally protected for all women? This leaves up to local authorities to criminally pursue or not an individual for doing something that is legal in a neighboring state. This raises the following question. Are women going to be eventually put in jail if they had an abortion in another state? Or is it going to be accepted for a woman to get an abortion across a state line, while another one is going to be criminally charged because she didn't cross the border of her home state? In that case, two persons are going to be treated differently for the same action, knowing that it might mean discriminating against people with less financial resources who can neither afford the expense to travel nor have the means to raise a child, stating that it's all the more important for them not to get into that situation to begin with implies granting more freedom for those who can afford it and deciding to punish others for the exact same thing. Out of the 9 Supreme Court judges, 6 voted in favor of reversing the Roe v. Wade decision. The dissenting minority opinion, written by Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan, underlined the fact that the reversal of Roe v. Wade was not the result of new scientific discovery or societal changes, but the consequence of a change in the composition of the Supreme Court itself, which makes this decision the direct byproduct of a hard conservative stance. By referring to Roe v. Wade as egregiously wrong from the day it was decided and leaving it up to women in each state to influence the law in one direction or another, the majority opinion estimated that from the moment they became pregnant, no women had any protected right to speak of, that they were not equal regarding their decision related to their future or their health, as their ability to choose could be taken away and subjugated to the view others might hold on the fetus inside their body. According to them, the 14th Amendment was never written seeing reproductive rights as central to freedom, and therefore they should not receive constitutional protection today. Making the fight for equal freedom a renewed burden for women was indeed based on and justified by a reference to an historically all-male decision. Deciding to root a ruling in a time when women were not considered citizens is the line of reasoning of the current majority of the Supreme Court. The idea that a decades-long precedent can be overturned, together with the statement according to which this right was not deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition, inevitably leads to conclude that no matter what the majority opinion in that case states, other rights that are not deeply rooted in history and that were not in the mind of those who want the Constitution to be protected could also be targeted and reversed in the near future.
Clarence Thomas today writing a concurring opinion calling on his colleagues to use this same reasoning to now revisit other cases like contraception and same-sex marriage based on the legal reasoning used in this particular ruling?
He sure did, David. Justice Alito insists this opinion should only apply to abortion, but the reasoning the court used to overturn Roe v. Wade, that can be used against other cases, and Justice Thomas calls on his colleague to reconsider the cases that establish the right to gay marriage, to contraception, even to private sexual conduct. In dissent, Justice Breyer warning the country no one should be confident that this majority is done with its work.